even bright yet. It's about just after 6 a.m. and we are going to Maui.
Heading out for day one. How do you feel?
Nervous.
Proud of you. Let's get this.
Let's go get checked in.
Let's do it. You're gonna kill it.
It's time for orientation.
Yay.
Emmanuel camp is over. Currently filming this on the 2nd of January. I am sitting, oh, I better look at the camera. I am sitting on the balcony of the hotel where we're staying. It's so beautiful here, I can't even tell you. But I wanted to take this time to reflect on the last few days and tell you my experience, I guess. I can't believe it's over. It felt like a long time coming, and it's been over in the blink of an eye, which is very, I'm sad really that it's over, and I want to go to another one. I'm just going to be telling you about my experience and how what I went through and how I experienced this whole thing. I will not be including any footage of the camp itself. I do have some video we were allowed to film, but for learning purposes only. So I will not be posting any of the videos that I have. I will be studying them a lot. But nothing will be going online. I want to, the people who run the camp, that was what they asked of us, that we were allowed to film. We were allowed to film, but none of it was to go online. It was, you know, to be learned and studied, and I want to respect that, and I don't want to get in trouble. Also, by the way, look at my nails. That's awful. I painted them for Christmas, and now since the camp they're just all coming off. I know that's gross, I'm sorry, but people ask me if I have nail varnish remover and I say no, I play guitar. So this was my first time at a camp. I had never been to one before. Tommy has done these for the last few years, all over the world. He's done them in other parts of the States. He did one in Scotland back in 2017. It was 4 long intensive days. First day was kind of started around 4:30 but went after midnight, and then every other day was started at 9 a.m. and went until after midnight. So very, very long. It was a 6-hour flight from LA, so it was only a 2-hour time difference. I'm used to a more drastic time difference. Landed in Hawaii around 1:30 local time, and then had to do a lot when we got here. Get our car, get checked in to where we were staying, and then go to the venue where the camp is being held and be checked in there by 4 p.m. And then it was beginning at 4:30, the orientation and everything. So it was a long day. I stayed till about midnight. And then it was 3 days after that, 3 full-on days after that. Not complaining, of course. It was all incredible and amazing. So the camp ran from the 28th of December 2019 until the 1st of January, which was yesterday, although there were not any classes yesterday. It officially ended New Year's Eve. So the classes were, every morning we had a hour and a half to 2 hour class with Tommy. All attendees, we were split into smaller groups, 3 smaller groups, and I was in group 1. But all the groups together, we had a class with Tommy in the morning, which was like I kept having these feelings of like walking in, getting up early, getting ready, going over, getting a coffee, and then sitting down, and like Tommy walks out at 9 o'clock and just plays. And it was just an experience that is not going to happen every day, and I don't even know if it'll ever happen again. I hope it does. I just had so many moments of sitting there and watching him, and I'm like, this is what I get to do for these few days. I get to walk in somewhere at 9 a.m. and watch him play and sit right in front of him and have him talk to us and deconstruct his songs and different things and take questions, and yeah, it was just incredible. So then the other tutors that were there, Frank Vignola, Vinny Raniolo, Jeff Peterson, and Brent Mason. The one I was most familiar with was Brent Mason, because I listened to him growing up and a teenager getting into guitar. We had a class with Frank and Vinny first, and then we went to Jeff's class, and then we had lunch, and then Brent's class was after lunch, and then that was the first full day, and then the other 2 days we had a class with Frank, a class with Vinny, and a class with Brent. So Jeff didn't stay for the last 2 days. I believe I didn't see him there, which is unfortunate because I liked him a lot, and he's an incredible player. His music is so beautiful. He's a slack key guitarist, which I would have loved to have learned more about. Really enjoyed all of their classes. They all had a different teaching style, and we kind of did something different between all of them. They were very open with us if they would, take our questions if we had any questions, and we wanted to learn a song or learn any kind of technique or something that we've heard them do, and like they happily showed us, which was great. I was particularly taken with Frank Vignola. I'll admit I actually didn't really know much about him before the camp, and he turned out, aside from Tommy, he turned out to be my favourite. His playing, obviously, is a phenomenal player, but I was just taken with his personality and his teaching style, and I really liked him a lot, and I ended up getting a picture with him, which was nice. And at the end of each day there was a concert where we just got to see them all play together and separately. It was just, to be in that close proximity to Tommy Emmanuel and Frank, Vinny, Jeff and Brent. Jake Shimabukuru was there for one night, and then he did a class the following morning with Tommy. And Muriel Anderson also showed up on the last night, which was, they hadn't planned it, but I think she was nearby and she made the trip over and played. That was a real treat as well. The concerts in the evening were particularly a highlight because it was just such a small group of people. It felt really intimate. It felt like a show, but at the same time it didn't. It felt like a show / masterclass / learning, just getting to watch them literally just have fun right in front of us. Tommy, Frank and Vinny, they've all played together before, but a lot of the set wasn't planned. So much playing music is listening to the other players, so just getting to see them kind of not really be thrown in the deep end, because I think they're all strong swimmers by this stage. Just seeing them communicate during songs and all that kind of thing. It was just watching real pros that were just having so much fun playing for us, and it was just so special. And then of course New Year's Eve was they had the concert New Year's Eve, and so Tommy and the others, we rang in the new year together. So Tommy, they did the countdown, and then they just played the most beautiful and the most fun music and just melted everyone's brains with their technique. The whole thing was just so special and so surreal and so amazing. What meant the most to me for this camp, it wasn't even the playing, it was actually having a couple of experiences with Tommy himself. And I know it's people who've been to a few camps, they kind of get over that little bit of starstruck, and he's just a normal guy, and he is just a normal guy, but for me, who's never met him before, just like little conversations here and there that just really meant a lot to me. And he's someone that I've looked up to for a while, and to get to to him, to actually have him talk to me, really did something for my soul. The one in particular was, it was the last day, New Year's Eve, the morning of New Year's Eve, and it was our class in the morning with Tommy, and he was answering someone else's question, and he mentioned Irish music very briefly. He just said something like, oh, I fell in love with Irish music in the 70s. I just had a little light bulb moment where I was like, I'm actually curious about that. Like, what is it about Irish music that he loved or found, you know, that he took something from? So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna ask a question, which to a lot of people is probably not a big deal, but for me is a huge deal because I've never ever done that before. I all through school and college, I never ever raised my hand to ask a question. I only spoke when I was spoken to, but I never took the initiative. I just was always a bit too shy and a bit too afraid. I never really participated like that. To do this was a big deal for me, which probably sounds ridiculous. So I was waiting for gaps in the conversation. So I was kind of raising my hand a few times, but then he would keep talking. But I was just keeping my hand ready. But I was absolutely shaking, like I was so terrified, but I did it anyway, and that felt really good. And I need to do more of that, especially when it comes to playing. So I raised my hand and he picked me, and I was handed a microphone. And I asked him the question, you mentioned earlier that you fell in love with Irish music. I said, could you talk about how Irish music has influenced your songwriting and your music? And he was like, yeah, and he just burst into this like really fast, like a jig, like a and the whole place was like and it was really good. And he just went on this, like, he talked about Irish music and how it had affected him, and you know he talked about how people think that he's guitar obsessed when he actually listens to all types of music, and you can hear it in his music, you know, that he listens to everything, you know, like even tunes like, you know, Mombasa and Lewis and Clark, they're, you know, influenced by African music and the American West music. And so to hear that he's kind of in tune with Irish music was really, really cool. And he talked about how important Irish music is to the world, and that everyone should listen to it because it changes your heart. And I was like, oh my god. And yeah, that question went down really well, so I was really happy. So then the class ended, and so I got up and kind of walked. The exit was, you kind of walk in front of the stage and then exit to the right. There was one guy talking to him, and then there was another guy standing behind him as if kind of forming a line. So I stood behind the guy that was in line just to kind of say thanks, you know. So he got to me, and I just put my hand out to shake it, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. I said that was the best answer to my question I could have hoped for. And he just laughed, and then he just pulled me into a hug. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, it really, really did something for me. I don't know if it was healing or inspiring or motivating or all those things combined. It just, you know, to have someone that you look up to so much pull you into a hug out of nowhere is like pretty incredible, I would say. To me, that was my little highlight in my heart. So I feel like that's a story for me to tell. And I don't know, I'm sad I didn't get more time with him, but I mean, it wasn't the Amy and Tommy camp. But you know, our paths may cross again. I would hope that he remembered me. He might, and he mightn't, and that's okay. But if we do meet again, I'll refresh his memory somehow. Hey, Amy from the future, just jumping in really quick. It's towards the end of the month that I'm now editing this video. Since then, my mum and dad went to see Tommy Emmanuel play in Vicar Street in Dublin on the 23rd of January, and he played music, Irish music, very similar to what I've just been talking about, so I thought I would insert a couple clips from the concert just to give you an idea of what I've just been talking about. And yeah, so I am going to insert those clips right now. incredible. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm glad I got to put those clips in for you to see. My parents actually met Tommy the morning after the concert. They were both staying at the same hotel and they ended up chatting for a little bit. It was just one of those full circle moments in life where, you know, I had just been with Tommy, Emmanuel at the camp, and my parents ended up meeting him for the first time less than a month later. So that was just really cool to have that happen, and it was very exciting. So sorry for the interruption, back to the video. The biggest thing I learned from this camp was not even technique or, you know, just different things. I mean, I learned an awful lot. Everything, like in everything that relates to guitar playing, with like technique and attitude and practice and all that stuff. But I think the thing that I feel the most afterwards is I think it's to do with the vibe that was there. Like the people in the room, everyone was just so supportive of each other and was just like really interested in everyone's musical background and everyone's playing. And I think the biggest thing I took away from that is that playing music shouldn't be competitive. And I feel like it is nowadays with Instagram and social media. It kind of feels like everyone's competing with each other. I don't know if I'm alone in feeling that way. Playing an instrument is an art, it's not a sport, and we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to other people in our heads or competing against each other, because art is something that's shared and expressed. Like in art, you express yourself. You're not trying to win anything. You're just trying to get what's inside you out and express it. Whether that's writing songs or whatever you do, we need to stop comparing ourselves to other people. Like I met people younger than me that were way better players, people that had only started playing guitar that were better than I was when I was at that stage. Like it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because no one else's journey affects mine in the same way mine doesn't affect theirs. Yeah. That's my quote for the day. Music is an art, not a sport. Yeah, I couldn't think of a better way to end the year and start the next one. It was such an experience that I'll never forget, and I hope I get to go again. And I know they're taking a break from these camps for a while, so if he ever does one again, I really want to be there. West side near Galway.
Near
Galway.
Galway.
Oh, the west side.
I love Galway so much. Damien Henley's from there.
That's right.
My good friend. I like Sligo too.
Yeah.
Up north
yeah.
there.
It's not far from me at all.